There is probably a line as long as a city block of comedians who are successful. They're in the peak of success, and people are taking advantage of them left and right
Oh yeah,
because of their mindset
absolutely.
and their mind is working the show, and these people are working their wallets or working their heart or working something to,
Right, right.
you know. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, man.
This is the Free Zone Communiqué, transmitting from Virginia's unoccupied sector. If you think smart cities, DEI, censorship, government intrusion, bug paste, and other left-wing nonsense are no longer a possibility, think again. We've won one election with slim majorities. Our work to rebuild a free and sane America has just begun.
Joining us now is Michael Belanti. Michael, let me ask you, you go by a different stage name. Is it Mickey? Do you use that on stage?
I do. I used to say back in the old days, if the phone rang and they asked for Michael, it was business. I mean, it was everything else. But if it was asking for Mickey, it was stand-up comedy. So yeah, I changed. I picked the name Mickey when I was in an improv group in LA. There was four Michaels in the group. So actually, Michael Chain said to me, "You got to be Mickey." So that's kind of how it came about. And then Joseph is my middle name. And I thought it would be to my advantage. You know, Bulanti was a name that people struggled with over the years, and it always kind of bothered me, you know. So Mickey Joseph, it has kind of a, nice ring to it. So that's the decision I made. But now I'm MJ Bulanti,
MJ Belanti.
artist. Yeah.
Speaking of which, is that you over your right shoulder? That painting, is that your work?
Yes, this is something I just I'm completing, and I'm going to bring it down to Joey, and hopefully he hangs it in his pizza shop. It's a really good place here in Vegas. You get your Caesar salad and your slice for about $10. It's a very good lunch.
Nice, nice. That sounds like a good
Yeah.
price. Yeah. So you mentioned you're working right now. How did you get into show business? Where did it start? How many decades ago when you
Yeah.
start in comedy?
Well, I actually started out as a musician first when I was a teenager, uh, playing conga drums of all things, and then I found a teacher. I played in bands through my early 20s, and went to community college, taking all kinds of classes the whole time. And I eventually I was given an assignment to see a play, Equus, and it was theater in the round, and I sat in the front, and I was so moved by this kid that was acting. I'm sure you're familiar with the play. And that I decided to take an acting class, and so I signed up for acting classes, and I never looked back. I took a full load for maybe 2 years at Kenyatta College in Redwood City. I did two plays there, and then I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I was a street mime the whole time, and then discovered that comedy is a good direction to go in. People, there weren't enough comedians. It seemed like comedy was starting to boom, and that's exactly where I met Evan Sayet. Sorry to be so close, but I met Evan in line at the Comedy Store in 1984.
Evans
He was
Academy.
standing behind me in line to perform. So anyway, that's pretty much my story. But music has always been something that I've been interested in, and I'm able to play the piano. And and then I did stand up for 20 years. You want me to keep going? I did stand up for 20, and then I was cast in The Rat Pack is Back in San Francisco. This was a play about it. It was a play about the Rat Pack, and we were like in 1960 that we were coming back for one last show. It was produced by Sandy Hackett
It's like
and
a
Dick
tribute group,
Feeney.
right? just like one of those tribute groups, like the Beatles and the Stones. They all have tribute groups now.
Absolutely. We were the Rat Pack, and I was Joey Bishop, so I came out. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight, everybody? You know, that kind of told like 10 old story jokes, bar jokes, and then the show started. It was really a gas. The difference between doing stand-up and doing that was when you get on a plane to be a comedian, you're by yourself most all the time. And this, we were getting on the plane with like 7 or 8 people every time. So it was really, really fun. I did it for 9 years.
That sounds
110
like
cities.
So Evan was doing stand-up at the time when you met him.
Yeah, Evan was doing stand-up. He had a car, I didn't. And so we started going to these other open mics, and pretty soon he moved into the living room and slept on the couch for a while. And we came up together. We truly did. And we're still very close friends, even though, politically we're on the opposite sides of whatever spectrum there is. We never talk politics. We just feed each other and care for each other pretty much.
You can't not like Evan. You know,
you gotta love Evan.
He's a gregarious.
One of the funniest guys.
One
of the funniest guys around. He improvised a line one time in Ashland, Oregon. I'll never forget. There was a big glass window behind the stage that went right to the sidewalk, and some drunk came up and pounded on it. Wah! And as quickly as it happened, Evan turned, looked at the guy, and said, "Finally, an ass in the pain."
He was funny. For people who don't know, Evan was on the show about 7 months ago, I guess. We ended up doing a 2-part. It was such a good conversation. And since then, he has, he'll get with me on social media and say, "Hey, do you want to talk to this guy? This guy's great." He introduced me to Bob Zeidman. Bob
great.
Fantastic. And I'm trying to picture Bob and Evan at the same party. Bob would be sitting there like this, and Evan would, yeah. And Evan also just last week said, "You need to talk to Belanti. This guy has a story." So I said, "Yes."
Very nice.
And yeah. You triggered a little flashback for me. You talked about acting school. I'm a frustrated actor. You may not be able to tell. In high school, I flunked 3 or 4 classes to be an actor, just to be involved. I started in stage crew, and I started put my toe in the acting, and it got really intense. And we started our own acting group. We had really great directors come in, produce some awesome product. And then a friend of mine started summer stage using a high school near my high school, and has had thousands and thousands of people come through that program in 50 years. His name's Harry Dietzler.
Wow.
Hi, Harry. Big mention.
Hello, Harry.
But I called him in a recent piece, I called him the Mr. Chips of Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. He's just such a great guy. But these groups, the one I started, and then much more so the one Harry started, produced real talent. Tina Fey came through Harry's program.
Wow.
Her name escapes me. I never remember it when I need it. The girl who played the daughter-in-law, the blonde-haired daughter-in-law in Everyone Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
The big cop's wife.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
But she came from Summer Stage. The guy who just played Superman is Summer Stage. These people all come from Upper Darby, and
right.
That's 100% thanks to Harry and the work he did.
Please hang up and try again.
At the bottom of the page, I'll leave links where you can find all our stuff. Wherever you get to P4B in the Free Zone, please follow, subscribe, leave reviews and comments. And share. This is how we grow. I'll leave a link to where you can support the P4B directly, so you too can be a political party pooper. But the most pleasure you can get by supporting us is to shop Po River. I'll leave samples and links for that as well. Thanks to all our supporters and subscribers. Anyway,
Yeah.
you're not interviewing me. I'm interviewing you. So you're cranking away in comedy. Where have you had you appeared? What were your favorite gigs?
Well, I managed to open for a lot of great people that were actually very nice to me. Huey Lewis and the News. I opened for them in Santa Cruz at the Catalyst. And I asked Huey for an audit. I was collecting headshots at that time, you know, and I asked him if he had one, and he said he didn't, but he goes, "Here, write down your address." And sure enough, he sent me a headshot in the mail. Very
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've met all kinds of great people. Of course, worked with Robin Williams many times. There's a theater in Mill Valley, California, where Robin literally lived right close by, and so he was there almost every Tuesday night when he was available. So I hung out with Robin a lot. Tony Bennett. I opened also for Willie Nelson. Sam Kinison. I think I was Sam Kinison's feature act of maybe the show before he passed away. He got killed in a car accident a couple of weeks later.
Damn.
Or maybe a week later, something like that.
He was, in my opinion, but he was the game changer of his day.
Oh yeah.
He brought a psychosis to comedy that people would later try to copy.
They're rerunning his first appearance on Letterman, and David's intro of the comedian. He says, "Buckle up! This is something you're not gonna want to miss, and something that you've never seen before." And it's a great. And that's what I love about the internet now is that you're seeing things that you're not asking for, and a lot of times something that you really wanted to see. You know.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. But stand-up comedy is how I met Vinny Favorito, of course.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about Vinny. For people who don't know, you will now. On Amazon Prime is a new piece called Vinny Does Vegas. And I was referred to it by Evan, and I wasn't watching names yet. I wasn't watching names on the screen.
Right.
So the show opens, and there's this big, loud New Yorker.
Boston.
Does Evan want me to put this guy on the show? You know, and I'm listening to the story develop, and then I realized I started looking at the little captions under your frames. I said, "Oh, that's the guy. He wants
Right.
Pulaski." But yeah, talk to us about the backstory behind that, and then doing it.
Okay, well, I met Vinny in '98. We competed together in the San Francisco International Comedy Competition. It was a very prestigious event at the time, and we literally were on stage together for 3 weeks in a row. And it becomes a brotherhood, you know, when you finally get to the finals. And both Vinny and I made it to the finals. We competed in the finals. He won the event. I came in third place. Ralphie May came in fourth, or Ralphie might have come in second, and James P. Connolly was fourth. And so that's how I met Vinny. We spent those 3 weeks together, and then we didn't see each other. He went off to Hollywood. He had a sitcom deal that fell apart. And then he started to headline Vegas right around the time Bud Friedman started hiring me to be an opening act in Vegas. So I worked with Vinny several weeks, introducing him to the stage, 12 shows during the week. And we continued to be friends. I mean, not friendly enough to say, oh, we got to hang out together or anything, but just, you know, we had memories together of the competition and whatnot. And that's basically how I met him. And then I got cast in the Rat Pack is Back in '05. And I did that for 9 years. And towards the end of that, I reconnected with Vinny by Sammy Shore was doing a benefit, and it was for the dog shelter. and I love dogs, so I decided to do it. There he was. Vinny was there in the green room, bunch of heavy hitters. We all performed, and he got his hooks in me right then and there.
Yeah, he was a friggin' charmer. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold a prediction, not quite a prediction, an assumption about that sitcom crashing. We'll talk about that later. Say he lost that sitcom. Um, but yeah, he would have been great running a cult. You know, if he had
Oh yeah.
started his own religion, he'd have been great.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. He this I sent you this story, the 12 pages. I was a comedian, so I wrote everything down while it was happening, and I wanted evidence of the situation that I was in with him so I could send it to my family, basically. And I kind of rewrote it a little bit, and I thought to myself, as the years went by, I could send this to maybe a magazine or something, maybe get some of that money back. Well, unbeknownst to me, that they were making the movie. Brian Burkhart, our director, and Mike Weatherford, the writer here in Vegas, were making a movie. It was, and I appeared in a bankruptcy form, and they contacted me and said, "What's going on with you and Vinny Favorito?" And I sent them the 12 pages, and I said, "Here, read this." And they, 2 months later, they were in my bedroom in San Carlos filming me.
Uh,
So, and my connection with Vinny was not present in the story. You know what I mean? There was no other comedian that went up with him. So it's kind of like it's a real disloyalty when one guy from your own profession, takes advantage of you like that.
yeah,
So,
it's one thing to put the squeeze on a stranger, uh,
right.
but
And
when
that's
you
what he
do it
did
to a
over and
party,
over again too, as
that's
well. I mean, there's got to be hundreds of guys that he took for 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 that left Vegas and said, "I got to get my money back," but they were so embarrassed when they got home that they didn't ever mention it to their wives or their friends or there's hundreds of people that
yeah,
got taken, and what the reaction they're going to have when they see this film is going to, who knows what might happen. If Vinny disappeared tomorrow, we would make a lot of money with this movie. I'm promising you that. And
it
everybody in the film would be a suspect.
yeah, he was working the dealers, he was working the waitresses, the customers, audience
Yeah,
members. He would groom them like you groom a little kid that you want to,
right.
that you want to abuse. You groom them, and
Well,
then he
he
would
was
put
doing it for his act. He was saying, "Where are you from? What do you do?" And it looks like he's just formulating jokes, but really the whole time he's thinking, "This guy's got two companies in Dallas. I'm going to ask him to play golf with me after the show." That was that kind of thing where he would just, it was his act to say, "Where are you from? Where are you from? What do you do? What do you do?" But he stored all that information, crazy. It's a
yeah,
crazy story.
and he had to have that kind of memory
Right.
on a calculator in his head because of all the bullshit, all the lies he had to keep keep juggling, all the plates he had
Oh,
to
yeah,
keep
man.
because he's telling you one bullshit story, then he's going to his neighbor across the street, giving him a completely different bullshit story, you know,
Right.
and then he's going to the cocktail waitress. That killed me. That killed me. That poor girl. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And
That's,
he's got a story for her.
well, she's the one that broke it. She's the one that went to HR and said, enough is enough. And he's not allowed on any Caesar properties. He stays right down the street here. He still comes to town. He's working this shithole on the north side, and I guess they let him stay here at the South Point. He's not allowed on any Caesar's property, I'm pretty sure. And they own half the strip.
Right, right.
So he is flying out and he's doing these shows, and I do see him. He doesn't see me, but I see him. I've watched him. I've walked by and I saw him sitting there all dejected at the poker table, and you know, the only way he could really get his career back is if he stepped up and said, hey, I screwed up. I'm quitting gambling. That's it. I want to be the poster boy for Gamblers Anonymous. If he were to do that, and I'm going to try and pay people back, then he would have his career back. But he just simply is such an addict, man. He cannot live without a bet. I'm telling you.
He'll be working angles on his deathbed. But
I would think so. And his, you know, I feel sorry for his family.
yeah, I mean, the damage is so far reaching. But if you could, without telling everybody the whole movie, I don't want to do that. I want people to go and watch this thing. Well, by the way, were you compensated for that appearance?
In the film?
Yeah.
No. As a matter of fact, I invested in the film a little bit. We had to get it done. So yeah, Mike, myself, and Brian are all investors in this movie.
Well,
but no compensation whatsoever so far, and that's not going to happen for at least another 9 months. They're telling us. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there
is a chance, Matt, that I get my 35 grand back.
That's it. There you go. It's you're hoping for.
Also, I want to tell you that while the film was being edited and Mike and Brian and I were all in that loop, all of a sudden one of the editors put some music in. And I said to Brian, that's stock music. Who are we going to pay for this? And Brian said, I don't know how it works. And I said, I can do it. I can create the musical score for this film. So I took on that assignment. It's the second time I did it. First time I've done it professionally, but I made a short film and I scored that film as well. My father was a great musician and played on that. But anyway, I took it on. I went to my friend Jimmy Goins in the Bay Area, brilliant recording artist. And he owns a studio and he's a great engineer. We brought one musician in at a time. First, I plucked out some ideas for songs and stuff on the piano. And Jimmy added some bass, and then we brought one cat in at a time, Tony Baker, Stephen Kuhn, James Gleason, and we just piled it on. We just said, okay, here, play this, play to this, and here's what I want here and that. And that's how we created this soundtrack, one guy at a time. And we're very proud of our work there, you know. So
this is the advantage. This is the advantage of being versatile. I mean, in comedy, especially when you got started, it was very, very popular. Stand-up was gigantic. But I'm sure for every great comic that made it, there were 500 great comics that the bus just passed them by. You had to be standing in front of the bus and get hit by
it.
Absolutely. In order to get picked up. You know, but you have music, you have acting, you have a little bit of producing. It must be so cool to walk into a room and see 17 people that that are successful in the business. That must be great.
No, it is. It's very cool. And we used the cut of my father playing in the Vinny movie soundtrack, playing his clarinet. It's when Chris Moon is going to throw money over the fence. I think that's the scene.
Oh yeah.
So it's really cool that we were able to put my dad. That's the only music I really have of myself playing piano and my father playing along with me on clarinet. So it's very cool.
And
I'm looking forward to doing it again. You know, there's a guy making a film about Mitch Hedberg, and I said, watch this movie, listen to the music, and let me know, man, because we are chomping at the bit to do this over again.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cool application of music.
Right?
Doing score, background music, B-roll music. It sounds awesome. It's not it was a total assignment, but you got to do good. You got to do well. But anyway,
great learning experience, man. We
got a little,
like you said, I just reach in every direction. I don't sit on my hands. I read a book called The War of Art. Great book about avoiding resistance. Resistance is what keeps you from this.
Yeah.
The earlier
I
I
have to
get up
read
at
that book.
5:30 in the morning, if I'm squeezing the tube at 5:30, it's going to be a good day.
The
Once I squeeze the tube, I don't want to waste the paint. You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
It dries.
You squeeze the tube, now you're committed, you know?
That's
Uh,
it.
but we got off track a little bit. And again, like
Okay.
I said, not too much detail, but what was Vinny's scam and how did he get in the heads of so many people?
Well, here's the deal with him. He was a mid-strip headliner. In other words, this guy must have been making big numbers. I mean, he was sold out every night. He's at the Flamingo, and he's got 240 seats. And he's got huge money coming in, which he lost all of it at the tables, apparently. All of it. He could not resist having money in his pocket. He had to gamble it all.
Poker wasn't his
So
game.
everybody that saw that and the big picture of him, there's a huge picture of him, like this with his leather coat on and his collar up. And you would look at that and say, there's no way this guy's not going to pay me my $5,000 back. And he kept on talking about the 35,000 that he had in the safe that his manager won't let him touch. And he needed money for an adoption. Well, first it was a tax problem. And I treated it like I would treat a friend. If somebody came to me with a problem and said, can you help me out? And I'm looking and I'm seeing, well, he's got his shit together, obviously. So yeah, I'll help you out.
He had a nice spread. For a guy that was out there hat in hand, he had a pretty nice friggin' house.
Well, I'm sure he did, but again, he probably owed. I'm sure it was a rental, and I'm sure that landlord had problems collecting.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
There's a
yeah,
mindset. There's a mindset for everybody who has an obsession, especially an unhealthy obsession, is you can
right,
justify anything to feed that,
right,
you know?
exactly,
And you'll
exactly.
hurt anyone to feed it. It doesn't matter.
Right. So the story I sent you, I talked about how it's not in the film, but I talked about he had a television show that he had signed in LA, and he wanted me to be his sidekick. So he just kept on hustling. He had a new story, a new way to get an extra $5,000 from me. His mother would have a car accident, and he would need money for that. And then the mother drove over the median, and he needed money for that. I think I gave him, I 7 times I handed him money. 46 days, I gave him $35,000 in 46 days. That's an average of like $730 a day.
Yeah, I'll let.
Incredible.
There's a really terrific coincidence that occurs every time he puts the touch on you or somebody else, and I'll let the viewer watch the movie and spot the coincidence. It's pretty amazing. We're talking about location, and you know what I mean, right?
Right, right.
But
That's what attracted me, though. When I heard there was other people getting hustled with some of the same bullshit at the same time. He was working two of us or 3 of us at the same exact time.
yeah, maybe more, maybe more.
And text, he had an accomplice because he would show me texts that he was getting. So it was just very well organized. And, my father was a brilliant man, and he could see how upset I was about all this. And you know what he said? He said, you were there for 7 years. You lost $35,000 to this guy. Some people go there and they lose $35,000 in 7 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, they lose everything. They lose everything they ever touched.
So it is a film about gambling degeneracy for sure.
Yeah, I will hazard a guess because this comes true later. When he was out in LA early on trying to put together that sitcom, he had a deal he was trying to put together. He's got a presence. He can be, you know,
Right.
even more convincing than Andrew Dice Clay in terms of the tough city guy. But I think this is a guess. This is a guess. It doesn't mean it happened. he kept putting the touch on them for more money until they finally said,
That
"Look,
could
man,
be true.
you haven't even proven yourself. Get the hell out of my office. I don't ever want to speak to you again." You know? And
Absolutely.
and if you did that or anywhere close to that, and you had that experience, a normal person at that point would say, "Okay, I got to find a new way of getting through the day."
Right.
But the the eternal narcissist would say, "Well, they're all wrong, and I can put the touch on anybody I want. I can
Right.
put my hand in anybody's pocket. I deserve it. I'm special." And that actual reality would come to bite him in the ass later.
Right.
Um,
That Hollywood community is tight knit. Let
yes,
me tell you something. You got to be part of the scenery to be successful in comedy in Hollywood. And Vinny, to me, the greatest common thread that comedians have is vulnerability. I exhibit huge vulnerability in this film. Me, Vinny's not a very vulnerable performer. Look at Richard Pryor, vulnerable. Look at Jackie Gleason, vulnerable.
yeah, yeah,
Vulnerability is key, and Vinny does really not possess that, and that's something you need to go from stand-up comedy to a sitcom for sure.
yeah.
He just didn't have that.
No, he was
He comes off
vulnerable,
as an asshole, a tough guy on stage, and you know,
but that can also be the Achilles heel of a normal
right,
comedian. You do have that vulnerability. You are literally opening yourself up. As a matter of fact, look at 90% of the comedians out there. Put them on one side, put Vinny on the other. These guys are pouring out themselves. You know, um, Sam Kinison was a great example. Robin Williams, obviously. Dave Chappelle. They're throwing everything that is them at the audience. You watch Vinny perform, and he's insulting the audience and drawing information from them.
right,
Totally different dynamic, entirely. But on the flip side, in their personal lives, this is part of their nature. There is probably a line as long as a city block of comedians who are successful. They're in the peak of success, and people are taking advantage of them left and right
oh yeah,
because of their mindset,
absolutely,
and their mind is working the show, and these people are working their wallets or working their heart or working something to,
right, right,
you know. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
absolutely, man,
But let me ask you this.
absolutely.
Let me put the shoe on the other foot for a minute.
Okay,
When you get caught up with somebody like Vinny, and and this comes as much from his neighbor or you as anybody in that film, is not the continued support for Vinny a form of a gambling addiction? You eventually get to the point where if I don't help this guy out with this money, I won't get the rest of the shit back.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I said that it got to the point where I thought if I didn't keep giving him money, I didn't think I was going to get anything back. And then I was actually relieved when I had saved $35,000 during that 7 years. And I was relieved that I didn't have anything else for him to give me. And I had to tell him that. And that's when he started threatening me. He started saying, what time do you get off work? And send me pictures of these goons and all this stuff. And it was pretty weird and pretty scary. I was by myself at the time. Me
Man,
and my dog. That was it.
in my old school, we would have
You
referred
know?
to him as a smacked ass. But
Yeah. I had a friend I could have called, but I didn't. I was embarrassed. It gets
yeah,
to the point where you don't want to tell anybody what's going on because you're in a situation that's really embarrassing. But I needed to have somebody grab me and say, "What are you doing?"
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Um, and that is the reality of it. I mean, uh, again, I keep drawing these different parallels, but there's a million things that you can do in your life. that are the wrong thing to do, you step right into them. And the last thing you want to do is tell anybody about it, you know?
Right.
And again,
Absolutely.
that's how they get you by the nuts,
Right.
knowing that.
No, and he didn't want me. He always said, I don't want my personal life getting out, you know. That could really ruin me, my tax problems. He would say things like that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's
Don't
out,
tell
man.
anybody. Don't tell anybody.
It's out. And he participated in that thing,
Right.
you know? And the audacity, he says, hey, you're not going to put this on YouTube, right? That'll cheapen it.
So I know. It's
They put
beautiful
him
what he
on there.
says at the end of this movie. That shit that he comes up with is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I hope everybody sees it. You know, not just because we want success, because it's fucking great. You know, to
Unbelievable.
see a guy. You know,
Anyway,
he at the premiere, Matt. We have a premiere in Beverly Hills on the 28th of July, and Vinny is going to come to the premiere, and we're going to have a question and answer afterward, and it's going to be unprecedented as far as weirdness is concerned.
no
And
kidding, man.
we're talking about it. And then 2 days before the event, and the director got him a plane ticket, got him a hotel room, got him a leisure suit, new pair of tennis shoes, and 2 days he started texting, I need money, I need money. And it got down to the day before. He said, I'm not getting on the plane unless you send me $400. And Brian finally said, that's enough. You're out. You know,
Good.
you're out. And so during the question and answer, one of the guys in the film got up and told the story about Vinny. And at the end of the question and answer, this guy in the audience stood up and he says, how could you guys believe that he was going to show up tonight? I mean, come on.
Well, he got in the movie. He put himself in the movie and showed
You
everybody
know,
where, you know.
I'm
So
sure in order to get him to be in the movie, Brian had to give him a piece of the movie. And you would think that he would be doing everything in his power to promote the film. But I don't think he's done anything whatsoever so far. We'll see.
what a knucklehead. Anyway, the film's called Vinny Does Vegas, and that's a chapter. So since then, what have you been up to?
Um, I am effectively, I did a half hour it's available on YouTube on Open Bar Comedy. It was my final thing. I've retired from stand up. I'm not getting on stage anymore. In fact, that question and answer was the first time I had a microphone in my hand in 2 years.
Wow.
But yeah, so I have retired from stand up, but you could see me do my last half hour on Open Bar Comedy. It's Mickey Joseph, woofa, woofa. I have a joke in my act. I say I got an Italian pit bull. He goes like this. He goes, woofa, woofa. So that's the name of this thing. You can see me there if you want to. And then I've been doing artwork. I have 3 pieces at the. I'm considered a local artist now in Las Vegas, and that's really huge. I have 3 pieces at the Mad Gallery on Main Street, 1312 Main Street in the Arts District, and I'm very, very proud of that. And I try and create every day. You know, I sold one recently for $400. That's a good deal, man.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a little traveling, you know. I'm visiting my grandkids a lot. I got 2 in Colorado and 2 here, you know, so I'm kind of spending time in between. And effectively, I'm retired and I'm enjoying my life, you know. And hopefully I get to one more thing. Fred Caruso was one of the producers on The Godfather. He's 87 years old. He also produced Blue Velvet.
Okay.
He's a friend of our directors through business, and he came to our premiere, and he sent a really nice email afterwards. And his big question was, you got to, what's next? You know, as far as movie making, you should have something else going right away. So that's something I'm considering as well. Like I said, I would love to create more music too. I would love to do that again. It was really a very cool, rewarding experience.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at you, And going through my head is like a buddy comedy with you and Stanley Tucci playing brothers.
That's
I have written a couple screenplays that I haven't even shown anybody, but I like to
wow, man.
I like to
You're giving me,
construct
you're making
in
the
my
what
head.
little hair I have on my legs stand up right now because I wrote a screenplay. It's called The Tunnel, and Stanley Tucci is in the lead role in my mind while I was writing it.
He's
How
my
funny
favorite
is that?
actor. Stanley
Yeah,
is
no, he's
my
great.
favorite actor.
No, he's great.
He
He
can,
would play an Americanized gypsy in this film.
yeah,
And man, that's so funny you would mention his name.
yeah, he's awesome. Great minds, right? Great minds. But
Oh, yeah.
I like him because he can be crazy, like Muerti in that New Orleans movie, funniest character ever.
Right.
And at the same time, in a serious movie, he can completely steal a scene without raising an eyebrow, without raising his voice. He's in the scene, your eye goes to him. You know,
He's great, man.
he's really, really cool.
One of the greats. And that thing he did in Italy, that was crazy good, wasn't it? He was traveling around from
Oh my God.
charming the shit out of all the women. I love that guy, man.
My wife and I would watch the documentary he did, go tour in Italy and eating, and we were starving by the end of every show. You know, we wanted pizza. You know, we wanted tortellini. It was great. It was really good. And I
Have you
enjoyed
been to Italy?
those places.
Have you been there?
Yeah, yeah. I've been to Sicily, Rome, Genoa. So I've been to a few of the
Nice.
places that he visited.
Right.
And I used to, when I was in the Navy, I would get to a place like this. I didn't do it in Genoa, it's too crowded. But I
Right.
like to get on a bike and ride until I get lost and then
Wow.
find my way back. You end up in the best restaurants, you end up talking to real locals. You're not surrounded by tourists.
Yeah.
I can tell you firsthand that is the best way to see Sicily.
Yeah. On a bicycle.
Yeah, I don't know about now with the immigration problem they have, but this was
Yeah.
back in the 80s and 90s by bicycle. Yeah, just go get
Yeah.
lost, drive away from the pier
I,
and get lost.
I have family. I still have family in northern Italy, and I also have family in Montevideo, Uruguay, and in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh yeah,
I got cousins, like second cousins everywhere, man. It's really cool.
you
I
know
get
what?
to
The
see them once in a while.
freaking UN is in your DNA. You know,
A lot of Bulantes out there.
I will come up with a vehicle idea, and I'll send it to you, and you can take it to Stanley Tucci. No, I mean by vehicle, I mean a
Man,
an idea.
right.
Yeah, and I think I have heard of that. Um, but yeah, you did say, or at least I think it said in the epilogue that you had gone back to LA, you were going to pursue acting, and I hope you do. I hope you do. I would like to see a few projects with you in them
Oh
between.
man, I would love that. I would love that. I don't know if being in a documentary is what can get you a SAG card or not, but I worked a lot as a non-union actor in San Francisco. I did a commercial with Steph Curry. I did a bunch of. I figured out the audition process right before COVID, and never got back to it. But I got cast in like five things in a row, and so I would like that, but I don't want to go to all the way to LA from Vegas and audition for a peanut butter commercial. It's just not what I want.
Yeah, that's a bit much. Yeah, it should be a project. Pretty big.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Well, Tucci's brother in
location
anything, that
shooting.
would be great.
What's that?
Tucci's brother in anything would be great.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You made your career. But yeah, with all the location shooting and the number of people pulling together a project in Vegas or Tucson or Reno.
You know, I was really lucky to connect with Mike Weatherford. When I was in the Rat Pack, we feared this guy. He was a critic at the newspaper.
Yeah.
And I went through all those feelings about him, you know, and what it would be like just to talk to him. And you know, 8 years later, we're sitting next to each other at a premiere of a film that we both worked on together, you know, and whispering to each other like schoolgirls as we're watching it. It was so fucking cool. Pardon my friend.
Well, yeah, well, that's really awesome. We have about an hour in the can, which is pretty cool.
Great.
I'm glad we had this chance to talk. I wanted to get some one-on-one perspective about you because I could see the work you were doing. It's very obvious at the beginning and what your future was, but I wanted to get a one-on-one perspective of the backstory on that film. People should watch it if for no other reason. If you're a nice guy or you have an Achilles heel, watch this so you know how to prevent somebody from taking advantage of you. It's a cautionary tale.
The big tell was when he said, "I swear on the souls of my children." And I learned since then that if anybody ever says that to you, you should wind up and kick them in the balls as hard as you can.
Yeah.
You know, it's just something that it's something that I would never say that to anybody for any reason. You know, and I'm not even really religious. I don't bring my kids. I would never bring my children into anything like that.
Right.
But I didn't pick up on it when it was happening, you know. And then he swore on the eyes of his mother too.
Yeah, I remember those two quotes are both in there. But
are they?
Yeah, it's that guy is a walking red flag. But if you're too close to the situation, if you got right here, the situation right here, sometimes you don't see it.
Exactly.
You have to learn the warning signs of somebody putting their hand in your pocket, digging into your personal life, stealing from you, any kind of abuse, whatever the abuse, physical abuse. This guy, Vinny, is the ultimate red flag. Study him and you study that problem. And you won't have people trying to take advantage of you.
I would agree with that. You know, this is it's a lesson learned. And I hope I did learn the lesson. I'm pretty sure that my answer is no from now on to anybody that wants to borrow money from me. Shit, and if they say, come on, you can do it, I say, watch the movie. It's on Amazon Prime.
You will send me the link to your YouTube to open
open bar. Okay, I'll do that. She's going to be home tomorrow, I believe.
Okay. All right, my man. Well, I appreciate you being here. It's Mickey Belanti or Michael Belanti, depending on the environment. Look for this young man starting a new project one of these days. If you're ever in Vegas, check out his paintings. What's the name of that the gallery where you're at right now?
It's the Mad Gallery on Main Street. It's 1312 South Main Street, and it's in the Art District. Can't miss it. There's a great mural on the wall outside, a big parking lot. I'm very lucky to be in there.
Good.
And to have them believe in me like that, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm going to shows, man. I'm enjoying myself.
That's cool. That's excellent. If I ever get to Vegas, I will stick my head in the door.
You know what? You're welcome here. I got a guest room.
Okay.
And you're welcome to check in anytime you like, my brother. No problem.
I won't ask you for $500, I promise. All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate you being here.
Okay. Thank you.
Please tell a friend about the Free Zone Communiqué. We live and die with the share and subscribe buttons. Please use affiliate and sponsor buttons to support our work. Thank you very much for joining us today.